So, David, how does a Brit make such a good American Western?
I do get asked this question a lot, and it's a very hard one because part of me thinks that American cinema culture is partly kind of global culture. So I'm sort of we're all kind of part of it to some extent. B, I spent a little bit of time in West Texas before I made the film, a few years before, and got a feel for it. And C, I guess it's sort of, well, A, the material, and the material is fantastic, the cast are fantastic, and then I guess I went about it in the right way and embedded myself as much as I possibly could into the landscape and culture of the world we were trying to describe.
Well, it's such a different kind of film from what you're usually known for. What attracted you to the script?
I loved it, really. It felt like it was a beautiful chance to have a film that had all the obvious kind of audience excitement of bank robberies and cops and robbers and justice and all those kind of things, but underneath that was able to be a movie that sort of was obviously about something. It was about the kind of heartland of America, and it just felt like a very beautiful kind of combination that you could make something entertaining and try and smuggle in. Smuggle's not the right word in terms of, but try and bring in a lot of the themes that are resonant to this country, but not just this country. Resonant, this country and beyond. So it was a great opportunity to take stuff that I love from the kind of DNA of great American movies from the 70s, and that kind of Western theme, the buddy movie themes, and kind of road movie themes, which I think are just great, and give it some kind of contemporary resonance, and that felt great.
Entertainment with a message underneath, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's a very entertainment with a message underneath is a very sort of clean way of putting it, but I think yes. I don't think anyone wants to be preached to, but it's quite nice to be able to get messages in there, by other ways, which felt like this film kind of could do.
You mentioned films from the 70s, and it does have a feeling of that, a grittier quality to it. It's very tightly wound. What were some, I guess, specific inspirations for you? Or
I'm a big. That's my favorite sort of period of American cinema, and I've just been speaking to somebody who edited 7 of Sam Peckinpah's movies. So there's a lot of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid there. We were filming quite close to Fort Sumner. I'm a big Hal Ashby fan. There was a movie called Charlie Varick that Don Siegel did that sort of really resonated with me when I first read the script. There's a lot of, well, there are 3 movies that Jeff made when he was younger that I thought were really resonant. One was Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, about Clint Eastwood and Jeff kind of doing on a crime spree in the Southwest, kind of and it had a combination of being kind of light and serious at the same time, which I thought was really strong. The Last Picture Show, set in Archer City, which is where our first bank robbery takes place, which is kind of really lovely for the resonance of Jeff. Is early in his career, one of his very first movies, and now and what an amazing career in between. But so to kind of sort of go back there in spirit, at least, that was really interesting. There's a John Huston movie called Fat City, which Jeff was in as a young boxer, which had a kind of real sense of sort of understanding of kind of slightly desperate, dispossessed people, and just it's got a kind of strong existential thread to it. That it's one of my very favourite movies, and there's a feeling of that in there. So those 3 Jeff films were always kind of very much kind of part of my held them close to me when I was making the film. I don't like to actually look at films when I'm making them because they tend to kind of make me worried about whether I am trying to hate them or trying not to hate them or whatever. So I keep that palette clean. But the memory of those good films is a really really strong part of it.
Right. Let's talk about Jeff Bridges. What made him right for the part?
it seems kind of impossible to imagine anyone else to play that part. And I think, to be fair, all of the main parts, it feels impossible to imagine anyone else to play those parts. They've inhabited them and made them theirs, and it's sort of, yeah, it's just sort of, it's been put into the stone of cinema now. Jeff was right and is right, and is a wonderful actor with a great sort of spirit, great humanity, some lovely humour, some just beautiful stuff, and so it was wonderful to have him, and I really enjoyed working with him, and I think we gelled, and he's a great improviser, and we got some lovely improv stuff in there, which is incredible, and the way that him and Gil worked together as a kind of partnership, and they were very generous with each other, and they kind of danced with each other, was one of the kind of high points of the movie, and I really loved it. They both played music together, which kind of helped them kind of groove, and we did a lot of improv, not all of it which made the film, but just the act of doing it was kind of part of kind of making those characters come together, which is great.
And then Chris Pine and Ben Foster as these bank robbing brothers. What's so interesting about this movie is that, they're criminals, they're bank robbers, but there's a morality, shall we say, to what they're doing. It's not just about getting richer. There's, they've got some meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that.
Well, I think it is interesting because they are on the surface bad guys and they're doing bad things, but they are sort of trying to do it, in Chris's case, to try and save his family and to redeem his relationship with his family. And in Ben's case, there is another redemption of his relationship with his brother and his kind of his brother's family, but also I think he's trying to make amends for having had basically a life of crime. It's referred to that he killed their mutual dad, and he's done a bunch of bad things, but this is kind of underneath it all, being done for good reasons. That doesn't excuse it. I mean, it's still criminal activity. It's not making an apology for robbing banks, but throughout the film, we're trying to kind of get under the skin of it. When we first meet them, we have no idea who they are. They're wearing masks. You don't have any sympathy for them at all. But as you get to know them and get to spend time with them, you start to feel the reasons why they're doing what they're doing. And in doing so, hopefully you understand a little bit of the world that they live in. And I think it's really interesting when you take characters that are on the surface of it one thing and start to kind of peel back the layers and start to feel the humanity and feel the understanding. That's a good journey for me as a filmmaker and to take an audience through. There's
some bravura car chases, shootouts, bank robbery sequences, obviously. As a director, how do you plan something like that to make sure that A, you get all the coverage you need, and B, when you cut it together, it's going to make sense to audiences?
The way I work is very instinctive, so the planning is kind of is about understanding what you need and the essence of it, about trying to, particularly with the car stuff, I was very conscious that car stuff is relatively limited, so we tried our hardest to shoot for moving cars all the time, so there was always that sense of that it's never a fixed point, and it means it's very hard to kind of get it right, but you just keep on trying. Some of the other stuff we planned a little bit in terms of and the only sequence I actually storyboarded was the sequence of the car rolling down the hill, because that needed to have, was quite a particular kind of stunt element to that. But the rest of it's about trying to make, like the violence and those stunts make it feel real, and not balletic or in any way beautiful. It just feels like messy and quick and tough and authentic. So I mean, my interest as a director is to make things feel as authentic as possible, but in a way that allows lightness and humour and other things to kind of just to creep in there, not to force it in there, but to kind of occupy this organic space that feels like it comes alive. And so that's my I guess my game is to try and make the film feel rich with all these elements, but still feel authentic and alive.
Playing the audience like a piano, as Alfred Hitchcock used to say.
Well, I think that sounds manipulative, and it's not really about me manipulating. It's about just letting every element have enough, space and time and opportunity to sing properly.
This film has had a resonance with people ever since it came out earlier this year. It stuck around with voting groups like the National Board of Review, Indie Spirit Awards, Critics' Choice, which you're nominated for directing over there. What has that kind of recognition meant for you and meant for everyone involved with the film?
Well, it's great that the film is being recognised. It's great that the film found an audience in the theatres, and I'm obviously honoured that the film has been, receiving recognition in the kind of awards zone. I guess it's really nice to know that people appreciate the movie. So that's what I'm getting out of it, and I find it very, very sort of thrilling that it's been appreciated. The love for it's out there, and hopefully also means it will continue to get some more people going to see it who wouldn't be going to see it otherwise, and some more attention.
Well, it's a terrific movie. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.